Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Welcome, everyone. I invite you to ask yourself this question. Am I aware? Asking yourself this question, am I aware? There's an immediate recognition. Yes. Now I want you to notice, are you simply aware? Or are you aware of the screen, of the image that you're looking at? If you are aware of the image, close your eyes. Now ask yourself, am I aware? Still, the answer is yes. This is not an answer that needs to come in the mind. You know this intuitively. Yes. When I talk, your attention will go to listening. When I stop talking, I want you to notice that you are aware. Ask yourself the question in the silence, am I aware? In this silent awareness, sound may still come and go. Stay with the awareness itself. This is not a doing. This is a relaxing into what is already here. This awareness is before what you are aware of. What you feel when you are simply aware is your own presence. There's an intuitive knowing, I exist. Or I am. This intuitive knowing is before any object. It's before what you think you are. It's before what you are seeing if your eyes are open. It's before what you are hearing. It's before what you are feeling. It's before a sensation in the body. It's the very first recognition when you come into the waking state. I am here. It's before even the belief, I am the body. This awareness is the foundation on which all experience rests. By checking in from time to time throughout the day with this question, am I aware? Or just with the recognition, awareness is here now. You come to know yourself as that essential presence or essence or source, which is before all experience. In the beginning, this feels like a dance you're doing throughout your day to remember that you are aware. But with experience, what begins to happen is this recognition, I am aware, becomes the dominant experience that you are having in the waking state. And in this recognition of awareness in the waking state, it can be seen that all experiences, all thoughts, all sensations, all emotions, everything is rising in this awareness. But before they arise, this pristine or naked awareness is empty, peaceful, calm. This presence, which you are, is happiness. And love. And in this innate happiness, in this innate love, there is compassion for yourself, compassion for your family, compassion for your neighbors, compassion for the world. So I invite you to ask yourself, whenever it occurs to you, am I aware? Or simply to notice, I am aware. And in doing so, return yourself to this naked awareness. This, of course, seems like a process. Seems like I'm explaining to you a doing. But actually, what I'm doing is pointing you to your own being. That which you are as being consciousness, as love, happiness, and bliss is already here. I'm simply reminding you who you are and encouraging you not to overlook the foundation on which all of your experience is built. Of course, sometimes we don't necessarily want to accept or believe that we are the foundation of all our experience. We've been told throughout a lifetime that life is happening to us. If you come to know yourself as being consciousness, you'll see through this dream. Life will go on, of course, as it's wont to do. But now you'll know yourself as that peaceful, calm center of aware being in which everything else is rising, sometimes swirling, sometimes chaotic, but not other than being consciousness. Know yourself to be that. Naked, pristine, aware, here, now, as presence. All right, I want to be sure tonight that there's time for those of you who have been here on a regular basis and you know that we haven't had a Q&A session for the last few weeks. So I want to give you an opportunity. I know that some of you have been listening. I think the team has put maybe 3 or 4 audio satsangs on YouTube. If you haven't had an opportunity to listen to some of them, please take that opportunity. But during this period of time where I've needed to remain quiet, there hasn't been an opportunity for you to speak directly with me. So I'm giving you that opportunity now.
Hello, Rishi. May I ask a question?
Yes, please.
So, when you intellectually understood that you are universal awareness, by I know sitting meditation is not understanding, but is bring it to your body mind. This you can download it to your body mind. This understanding that universal, or 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 by living according to that, both is working.
You can frame it in both ways, absolutely. But the fact of the matter is, there's nothing to download. This awareness, this recognition that I'm trying to point you toward is what you are. It's there already. In the sense that you may not be aware of it, you can say it is being down, you can download it. And this is actually what I'm pointing toward, isn't it? I'm asking you to, for momentarily, ask yourself this question: am I aware? Then close your eyes. Am I aware? Then close your ears. Am I aware? Then be here before the sensations, before the thinking. Ask yourself, am I here? So in a way, I'm saying to you, I'm pointing you back to this recognition that is already here in you. We're not creating something new.
Yes, but the
We're just
question, what is the process? Remove the ignorance from the body mind, and is become a new habit, living according to that. What is the
yes,
process?
that is the process.
Inquiry is in the moment removing the ignorance, but is not. You need to be constantly in the process of inquiry that way.
So the process of inquiry is not something that you need to be constantly in the process of. In a way, I want to say to you, that's too much effort. It implies, this effort implies that you are not already aware of who you are. You are not already aware of this recognition, I exist or I am. What Bhagavan pointed to repeatedly was that there is this foundation which you can very easily and very quickly get in touch with. It's the recognition I exist or I am. This is not something that you need to effort over in the sense of leaving your life in order to do this. It's something that you incorporate into everything that you are doing. This recognition, I am aware, or asking the question, who am I, is your constant companion, but it's not to be used to separate you or yourself from life itself. So this is why I say, yes, some effort is required, but allow yourself the opportunity to see that you are already here in pristine awareness. You are already here as this recognition, I. It's not something you become. It is what you are.
But my experience, Rishi, is not totally remove the ignorance for my to my program that exists already. Is in the moment is okay. So, but is not removing totally the ignorance.
So this desire or this recognition that it's not totally removing the ignorance is actually the barrier to totally removing the ignorance. The reason I say this is because if I ask you, are you aware? What do you say?
Yes.
Yes. Is that something you need to do, or is it something you are?
This is something I am.
Yes, you definitely. It is something I am. From that moment of recognition, every time there is a remembrance, I am, that ignorance in that moment is removed. Is it not?
In this moment, yes.
In this
But
moment.
experience showing is not lasting. It's not become like understanding. Is need to be inquiry again and again and again.
Yes, this may be, but this is a samskara. This is a tendency. This is not who you are. Understand that you are just being assaulted by a tendency.
So the question, the desire to remove ignorance totally is valid or not? Is ignorance?
The desire to remove ignorance totally can be said to be ignorance in the sense that it postulates a non-existent quality. You don't possess ignorance unless you believe in ignorance. So this is why the inquiry is so potent and so direct. And this is why Bhagavan said, and this is why I am saying, continually ask, am I aware or who am I? So that you come back into this moment of pristine awareness in this moment, which is before the thought that you need to spend all of your time removing ignorance. Don't reinforce ignorance, reinforce being here, now, as being consciousness. Do this very simply. I am aware. That which is aware is here now. Go very directly to the truth.
Rishi,
And
I
if you have to
understood totally that. I understood, but intellectually, I don't know what is not penetrating to my being somehow.
How many times a day are you doing it?
At least maybe 10 or 50 times, or when I go under the water or I cooked, always I can inquiry and it's immediately coming back, but it's not removed. I still cooked. That means I'm going underwater. No, I cannot maintain the peace.
Then I would suggest to you that you need to inquire more.
Okay.
Because in the case, I always use the example of Annamalai Swami when this question comes up. Annamalai Swami was with Bhagavan for his whole life. And he eventually, at one point, he came to Bhagavan and said, I am plagued by this troublesome mind. In his case, it was an attack of lust. And he said, I am plagued by this all the time. And Bhagavan said, just keep inquiring. And he said, how often? How many times a day? And Bhagavan said, as many times as you need to. So Annamalai Swami thought, okay, I will do that. And I will count how many times I am attacked by lust in a day, and how many times I have to inquire. So he went on his way. A day or two later, he came into the hall. Bhagavan said to him, how are you doing? He said, I'm fine. What happened to the lust attack? It's gone. Very good, very good. Did you inquire? Yes. And I also counted. I had to inquire 700 times yesterday. He was saying, this is how many times the mind rose with this attack of lust. And Bhagavan's response was, and where is it now? He said, it's gone. Bhagavan said, yes, very good. Continue. So he was pointing out to us that depending upon our personal samskaras, our personal tendencies, we might need to do this inquiry. We might need to notice that that which is aware in its pristine and original state is here many, many, many times during a day. But if you want to break that habit of believing that you are living in ignorance, you have to do this without telling yourself every time you inquire, I am inquiring because I am ignorant. If you tell yourself, I am doing this practice, I am doing this sadhana because I am ignorant, you will reinforce that sense of ignorance every single time you do the inquiry. This is why.
No, because I totally understand it's belief, but still this program of belief is constantly back. Somehow I have a desire, if once I understood that I am universal awareness, consciousness, and that's it.
I don't think that, I believe that you understand that you are universal consciousness. I don't think it's you that doesn't believe that. I think it's your mind that doesn't believe that. You are listening to a mind which says that you are not universal consciousness. You are giving that preeminence.
But mind no have any power, any intelligence. The power is come and will come from awareness.
Very good. Very good. If mind has no power and no intelligence of its own, why are you listening to it?
Is acting because the habit, because it's not deprogrammed.
Yes, it's a habit, but it's a habit for that to happen. Is it all? Do you also need to say that that habit is a problem?
Okay.
You see? Do you understand where I'm pointing? I'm not saying that the samskara is not there. I'm not saying that the difficulty isn't there. I'm not saying that the appearance of the mind isn't there. I'm saying that if you don't need to believe it, don't believe it. If you already know from your own truth that that is a samskara, that is a habit, that is a tendency which is rising, then see it as that. That is a habit, that is a tendency. In the process of inquiry, when we see a tendency, we see a habit, we don't believe that's what I am. In fact, we say, not that, I am not that, I am not that. And we do that 10,000 times. I am not that, I am not that. The implication is that what we understand is that we are that which is aware of it. We are the truth behind it, not the experience that the mind is telling us is true. So at some point, we have to be willing to put faith in the inquiry so that we can put down this habit in the mind to believe what the mind is saying. Because it is the mind which is untrue. Knowing that the awareness is here knowing that you are not the body, that you are not the mind, that you are not the samskara, that you are not the tendency. This is the truth. Now you have to put it into practice. How do you put it into practice? Every time that mind rises and says, I was aware a minute ago, now I'm not. Now I'm in ignorance again. You have to put that aside. You have to stop that belief. Now you know that there is a difference between what is true and what you believe as a mind or a body. Now that you know the difference between those two, you have to put that ignorance aside. You have to say, that ignorance is a tendency. That ignorance is a concept I no longer believe in. Then you can ask yourself the question, if I am not ignorance, who or what is having this thought? If I don't believe this, who am I? You have to be willing to penetrate through the belief structure you can see into what is before those beliefs. And you do this by asking the question, who am I? Or by noticing that there is awareness here in this moment and that is what I am. This is why I tried to say through this stepping back process, don't be aware of seeing, don't be aware of hearing, don't be aware of thinking, don't be aware of feeling. By doing this process, we come to recognize the pristine awareness which we are, which is here before what you are calling ignorance, which you yourself admit is just a habit pattern. So don't accept that's who you are. Know yourself as being consciousness, not through the mind, but through this process of pulling yourself back away from the concepts that you believe in. And knowing not another concept of I am free or I am liberated or I am aware or I am awake, not through those concepts, but through the direct experience, the direct perception that awareness is here now. And this awareness is free, open, liberated, loving, and kind. Not because I say it is, but because I experience this. In this moment of free, open awareness, I need nothing. And everything else that comes into this free and open awareness is simply something which is coming and then going. If I don't attach to it, if I don't need to fight with it, if I don't need to struggle with it, it just falls apart. If I give attention to the belief that I am ignorant, I feed it. If I give attention to the belief that a moment ago I was aware and in this moment I am not, you see, you are, even to say I am aware in this moment I am not aware, is to speak an untruth. I had
Yes, when you
someone.
notice that you are already aware.
You are already aware. Yes. But you have to notice it. If you don't notice, this is why it's called sadhana. If you already know you are aware and you are free and you are absolutely naked and pristine, you have nothing else to do. But the reason we call this sadhana, right, practice, is because of this tendency built up over lifetimes of the habit of believing the illusion that I am a separate self, that I have a problem, that I need to fix it, and that I am not the self. So once we begin to go into this and really ask ourselves, is that really true? Am I really ignorant? Or am I aware, even of the thought I'm ignorant? To be aware of the thought you are ignorant means you are not ignorant.
Yes.
Yes? So we come back to this pristine awareness. We come back over and over and over.
Maybe this is ignorance, my expectation to remove that now with you, now in the moment, because it's the only moment exists. I want to remove it now, and that's it, forever.
Okay. So, are you aware?
Yes.
It is gone. Stay there. Are you aware?
Yes.
Stay there. Don't make a left turn into what the mind thinks about it. Keep going straight ahead. Are you aware? Are you here?
Yes.
Are you now?
Yes.
Stay here. Stay now. Don't move. Breathe, everyone. Are you still here?
Yes.
Stay there. Now do nothing. Arvind.
Thank you. Namaste, Rishi.
Namaste.
Thank you. It's the first time that I'm attending your satsang, and pranam.
Pranam.
I would request your help in clarifying from a point of being awareness. There can only be one I.
Yes.
So then I must be all the objects that I'm witnessing from there, including the body and thought and all the phenomena. Then they must be untrue in the sense that they're objects, but it's like projections on a screen as opposed to something which is imbued with life and independent intelligence and doership. So Bhagwan also, in Who Am I, he says the world should be, the waking state world and the dream state are no different. But I'm just having some trouble because while as a searcher, as a seeker, sadhaka, it's me in duality that's asking myself, am I aware, and moving back. I mean, I have this sense of finding who am I, and then staying there. So this sort of shift between being awareness and then being a person that's moving back into awareness. Can you help me dissolve this? So in other words, if I know this intellectually, I know what the sages say. I understand when I ask myself, am I awareness? I understand the truth of the constancy of the awareness.
Yes.
But I'm not at a point where I believe that the world is a dream. I mean, I haven't not gotten to a point of surrendering doership, like everything is just, even this conversation is like perhaps a pre-scripted movie. Even this conversation, I'm not at that point of digesting that. So I just want your guidance because, there can't be two versions of I.
Yes. So I want to ask you, when you say in that description, you referred to this I this, I that, this is what happens. I see this, I know that, I experience this. I want to ask you, who or what are you referring to?
So thank you. Actually, that's and actually what I'm referring to is the identity and the shape that's appearing in awareness.
Yes.
And I'm identified with it, and for the purposes of this, I mean, I'm very identified with it. Even now, I have a feeling like I'm a person talking on Zoom to,
Yes.
to you.
Yes.
Even though from the previous exercise, actually this is
So,
all perhaps just movements in one awareness.
but my
But how,
question for you remains the same, Arvind. What are you
yeah,
referring to when you say I? Are you talking about this body that you are? Are you talking about this complex of ideas that you're trying to explain to me? What is this I that you're referring to?
it's actually, this question is coming out of thought. So it's
Okay, very
thought.
good. Very good. It's coming out of thought. Yes, it's important for you to see that. That there is, because when Bhagavan talks about saying to people, this is the I am the body idea, he often stopped right there. This is the I am the body idea. And this has created a kind of a place in which the I sense can squirt out of the body and take up residence in the mind. So now I am not the body. And a lot of people understand they are not the body, but they still think they are the bundle of thoughts. So now I am not the body, but I am this bundle of thoughts, or I am this projection, or this identity in the mind. You must challenge that, Arvind. You must ask that. Am I this bundle of thoughts? To whom are these thoughts coming? This is the next step. Then you can naturally go to these thoughts are coming to me. And then the question can naturally arise, who am I? But again, it comes back to this recognition. If you have this recognition, and I hope you have had this now, that what you are always referring to as this I that feels separate, it feels distinct, it feels like there is not one I, there are two. This is because there is in your case at this moment this sense of two I's, but one is the truth of your own being as awareness, as being consciousness, and the other is this belief structure which is present in the mind. So this is what's giving you this perception that there might be two, or that there's a distance between these two. So I encourage you, challenge this belief system by challenging what is coming in the mind. You still have to do what the mind still has its activity. The mind still needs to make a list of what needs to be done at work. It needs to understand what's happening around itself. It still needs to pay the rent, purchase a car, do whatever it needs to do, be in the relationship with the person. But those are functions of mind. They are not the identity of mind. What you've just discovered is that you have an identity in mind. That identity in mind is fictitious. It's a projection that you are putting out into the world. You are using that projection of me-ness in order to explore the world. It's not a problem except that you believe it, that this one that you think you are is who you actually are. So now you go about your life in the same way that you have continued to go about it. But every time you feel that sense of separation, that sense of two-ness, ask yourself, who am I? And if that takes you back into the identity of the mind, I am this one who is thinking these thoughts, who is planning these plans, who is making this decision. If it takes you in that direction, then simply ask yourself, what is aware here now? This eliminates this tendency to ask the question, I, and believe that the I that's being spoken about is either in the mind or in the ego in some way. When Bhagavan asked the question, who am I? He wasn't talking about reinforcing the identity of the body or the mind. He was talking about penetrating through the identity of the body of the mind. or the mind. So now what you need to actually do is begin to notice the very subtle moments in which not only is the mind being used, but there is an identification with the process that's going on in the mind. You are believing that is me. And that's the point at which you apply the question, who am I, or what is aware of this? Either one of those questions will work. For some people, it's necessary to take out that question, take out the whole concept of I. And this is why I say to people a lot, notice that what is aware is here now. What is aware, it's known intuitively and very deeply. This is not an I. This awareness is here before even the thought I comes. If you can remain in this pristine state of naked awareness, then you can go about all of your daily tasks without the I arising as a point of identification. You can go about your tasks. Everything gets done on its own. Everything happens quite naturally. And there's no identification with I. But if you get stuck with I, then just come to this prior awareness so that you know that that awareness is here, but that does not mean I am aware. Okay?
No, thank you. Actually, as you said, now that the attention is, it's clear that the awareness is always here. As you said, it's the first. Nothing. If I'm not, I can't do anything phenomenally without awareness being present.
Yes. You can't
So
even
I
believe
know
in the
that
I.
you're right. But that's now. I can. The attention is there. That nothing. That the awareness is always there. You know. The thing is. Yeah. So are you basically saying that being aware of that constantly, even though I get pulled into shape, just for instance, in any conversation, people will address me as a person, activities will happen as, sort of the play is persons, doing things as persons and, the diversity of the play, but being aware that it's happening on the screen that all the time, is that enough for things to flow naturally, or are there other other activities that need to be done?
If you remain aware of this, if you remain
Yeah.
aware of the screen, that is enough.
That is okay. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I mean, so certain yogis, did do chanting and so forth, and other forms of maybe bhakti forms, and I was
Yes.
just wanted to kind of tease at that a little bit, just to ask if it's enough to know that there's a sky of awareness constantly, or is that still not deep enough actually to remove this veil?
Yes. So there is an element of knowing within ourselves what is the appropriate tool for a given moment. So if the mind is if the emptiness of presence is stable enough, then everything is just allowed to flow. There's no one to do anything, and there's nothing to do. So life is just flowing, and there's a recognition that this is just happening. It's just flowing. This is not a thought, it's a recognition. So everything is just flowing. But if there comes a moment where some difficulty has arisen that requires a little bit more than that, then I always tell people whatever tools they have used to get here, whatever tools are in their toolbox, whether it be chanting, pranayama, breathing exercises, whatever one has used to come to this moment of deep understanding, those tools are always in the toolbox. They are always available. So if one finds oneself struggling with some point of identity, then certainly you can pick that tool up again and use it until the mind is quiet and stable and you feel that presence again. and then you let it go. You are here now. You are always here now. The here nowness of awareness of itself is undisturbed by whatever is going on in your mind or whatever identity you feel like you are caught by in a given moment. This has no impact on awareness, though I do understand that on you on a personality level, it may still have some impact. So this is when we come back to the toolbox. When we find ourselves distracted, disturbed, upset, we've lost our calm, we've lost our focus, if you will, then we can come back through the use of a tool. But understand that that's what you're doing still within that realm of mind. That's what you're doing within the belief system, I am the mind, or I am the body. That is what you're doing. This is fine. All paths eventually lead to who am I, or what is aware here. Just know that the most direct path is to simply become aware in any given moment. That which is aware is here now. This is the most direct path. Return to awareness which has no object, which is simply itself.
Thank you.
Well. Yes, of course. You're very welcome. Joy, hello.
Hello. I want to start with a thank you for being like a tool for me in my toolbox in my journey.
You're welcome.
Like
yes, I'm a tool.
But
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. Like I have good news for myself. Like 6 months ago, the realization of the I am started to click with me, because I was 3.5 years with a friend of mine. I was digesting, the mind was digesting knowledge and different teachers, looking for different methods, things to do. And now I realized what it's like everybody always says the same, like it's not here, it's like you here. It started to fall in a place like a quote from Jesus, what he said, I'm in the world, but not of the world.
Yes.
Now I realize that I can see and hear without ears and eyes. It's like, it's really weird in the beginning, but yeah, I'm practicing like all day. I'm practicing, and it's like my mainly progress now was first I had to focus still on my eyes could not move, because my eyes were like interlocking with all objects, and it was like a distortion. And last week I noticed that when I was traveling in a car with a friend of mine, I could see the roads and still be in the present. So I was really glad with that progress, because I thought focusing on one spot and then remain in the I am, that's not gonna cut it for the rest of for moving in the dynamic life. And I was really glad with that progress. And I just wanted to say thank you for being part of my journey. And but sometimes I really my mind has like a top 5 list of pulling me back in. It's like my ex-girlfriend is on that list. The mother of my child is on that list. My
Yes,
mother, my own mother is on that list, and some people that I,
yes.
yeah, and it's like,
yes, but now you have the key, right?
yeah,
You see,
yeah,
now you have the key. Now you see it's possible to remain as this self-aware being consciousness, which is dancing with all of this, dancing with the whole list and all the rest of life.
Yeah,
and very good,
and
very
for
good.
me,
Keep going, Joy.
yeah. For me, the key is to, when I see that the anger comes and the frustration comes, I see it, but sometimes it drags me in, and then afterwards I say to myself, "Oh, I had the ignorance," what that other guy was talking about. From why am I doing this? But that's that circle where, yeah, I call it sometimes the devil or the mind, or just how to call it. Yeah, he thrives then.
It's
He
just
tricks me.
conditioning.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's yeah. Thank you for this opportunity that we can log in, and it's very nice. I want to thank you for that, and I wish
You're
everybody
welcome.
a blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Rajiv.
Pranam Guruji.
Pranam.
My first time I'm attending this. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful experience. It's like the silence of Arunachala has reached here.
Beautiful.
Guruji, I want to ask you a little bit deeper. In fact, it was Ramana Maharshi's Who Am I a few years ago which triggered some very deep experiences within. And since then, I have been practicing being in awareness, not only in meditation, but beyond meditation, while walking, while talking, while working, to such an extent that I have lost all concepts of time now. And I am so much present in the vertical of the moment that there are no thoughts anymore. It's just absolute silence. Still, for the purpose of conversation, you have to use a word I and me and all these funny words, but that's okay.
Yes.
But still a small feeling, because now I realize that there's only one whatever you call it. I can't even call it consciousness awareness because words have its own limitations. But still a small nagging feeling, though I know feelings and thoughts, memories, everything arises. That's okay. Why is this awareness still localized? That's one. That though I know that I'm no longer identified with this body. That number two, I'm practicing to sleep in awareness. Sometimes I'm able to get that because I felt that if my entire waking stage can be in awareness, then even my sleeping stage can be in awareness.
Yes.
So that I couldn't. So is it again a small play of or small dust of my ego mind, which is having these little things?
Yes, of course, because if there was no small dust of this ego mind, then none of these questions would arise at all.
Mm-hmm.
So we can know that if we're still playing in this lila, that there is still some dust is still there. Yes. But you are working now. You are moving in such a subtle field of mind that I will encourage you to keep going, because you can easily break this subtle field of mind now. And the way that it will be broken is there will be a recognition that what you are experiencing in the waking state in such a deep way that you are able to see these very subtle phenomenon, that this is just the waking state still. And you can ask yourself, what is the real, which is here? Show me the real, which is here in waking, dream, and deep sleep. Show me the real, which is here in past, present, and future. So through all three times, in all three places, all three spaces. Now you can begin to challenge this very subtle belief that there is a me here in this waking state, which is still practicing, still meditating, still doing sadhana. This is a very subtle me, but a me nonetheless. So begin to challenge that foundation. You can come to a place in deep sadhana and in deep meditation where you don't sleep anymore. There's no sense of time. There's no sense of needing anything. And yet there can still be, as you said, this very, very, very small and subtle sense of me-ness. Me as the yogi, me as the sadak, me as the person in some way that still is associated with this body-mind. So I would just encourage you now, begin to ask the question, what is real? Or show me what is real. And everything that is part of your sadhana or part of your way in which you experience this subtle me that is not the real will begin to dissolve. And it'll be a very quick and very subtle dissolution. And you will find yourself aware here now. And you'll be free from all doubt that there's more for you to do.
Yeah, no, Guruji, there is no doubt. I mean, there is no doubt for me to do because there is no me. Whatever it is, it's a happening. The only point, like you rightly said, this form is realizing more and more subtle. I don't know. I mean, I'm finding words also very heavy to speak, especially after 1 hour of meditation. Words are actually irrelevant.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask you is, and the other thing I'm realizing is, I'm seeing the mind for what it is, and our mind is extremely powerful. So though I have not gone into those areas, I feel are there more subtle realms? Because as you become more subtle, intuitively you just understand few things. I don't know how to explain. But I also realize that if I allow my mind to go in those directions, the mind will create something else. So that's little bit of, because all this is just in pure awareness. And since this is an unknown, uncharted areas, you're the first person I'm asking. So I thought, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Are there levels of deeper awareness or subtle realms that the mind can take one into, having come out of this gross levels of thoughts and emotions and memories? All that's over now. But are there deeper levels of, for want of a better word, consciousness and other realms? Because I am sensing those aspects now when I do my meditation, my sadhana, my agnihotrams, and certain practices that I follow. I'm sensing energy, dynamics, a few other things.
Yes, there are definitely more subtle realms. Absolutely. Okay. The question is not whether there are more subtle realms or not. The question is more to the point. You already say that you know that the mind is powerful. And you have some experience and some perception of these subtle realms. So I simply ask you to ask yourself, so what?
Yeah, same thing, absolutely. Even I ask myself, so what? It doesn't matter to me. But these are just new experiences.
If it truly doesn't matter to you, then there's no pursuit of it. But that
No,
doesn't
there's no
mean,
pursuit. Yeah.
yeah, but that doesn't mean that sometimes the subtle realms might, some subtle realm might open up to you. That might happen. It might happen quite naturally.
Yeah, absolutely, Guruji. What you're saying is true.
So what?
It's just these are uncharted areas. So I just, for the first time, someone I can just ask.
Yes.
Trying to remain in awareness all the time while all these dynamics are
Yes.
happening. That's all.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And the reason I said this, so what, was not to be, it was to try to get you to laugh, but also to get you to see that if the mind, even the subtle mind, the subtle consciousness enters another realm, the question you still want to be aware of in order to not be trapped there in some way for a long period of time.
Yes.
The question is, so what? For you to ask in that experience, so that you can come to understand that there's as Bhagwan said, if let what comes come, and then let what goes go. So he didn't say don't experience. He simply said, so what?
Cool.
What is coming is coming. This is just a samskara. It's a tendency, even to know subtle realms in this lifetime is a tendency related to the prarabdha karma of this body mind. It's a tendency. If it comes, it comes. If it stays for a while, it stays for a while. If it goes, it goes. This is not the proof that subtle realms exist. This is the proof that phenomenon are unstable. All phenomenon are unstable. They are coming, they are staying for a while, and they are going. Our sadhana is about the direct perception of what is not unstable. It rather is permanently, supremely stable. If there's not a recognition in this moment of that which is supremely stable, then what is coming and going, subtle or gross, is happening in the mind. It is a creation of the mind, and it can be lovely and beautiful and blissful. But if it leaves, will you suffer? This is a question to ask yourself. And if it leaves and you suffer, then there's more work to do. There's more to understand.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Guruji. These are just coming and goings.
Yes.
I understood that.
Yes. All things.
Just new. Each experience happens to be totally different. That's all.
Yes,
it's just coming and
correct.
going. That's understood.
And
thank you.
And always our recognition in sadhana is to ask this question: is what does not come and go? Show me the real. What does not come and go? That is the real. According to Vedanta and according to experience, that which does not come and go, that is the real.
Yes. I in such times I come to the ground of being in the here and now. Yes. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. God bless.
Yes, God bless you, Rajiv.
Hello.
Alberto.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Sorry, I missed the first part of the satsang because here in Spain we made a strange thing. Is in winter schedule in winter time we change the time. So tonight at 3:00 was 2:00 a.m. So we have to change the clock. So I forgot this, and when I connect the satsang was like 1 hour keeping. So meanwhile, the first part of the satsang that I missed, I was watching a documentary about the power of the mind. So at the end of this documentary, they talk about consciousness. So there was a question. They ask, is the mind is creating consciousness, or is the consciousness which is creating the mind? So I stay like thinking about that. So I would like to ask to the Rishi, so to know his point of view. So what do you think about that?
I think there is no consciousness and there is no mind, and there is no difference between any this and that.
Yes.
So understand that what we do is we use these words and they form into concepts so that we can talk about these ideas. But if we look directly into our own experience, we look directly into, we ask, what I mean by that is we ask the question, what is mind? And we keep looking. We see that mind consists of temporary thoughts that come and they go. But when they stop, or we fall into the gap between two thoughts, we see that there is only an emptiness there. And this emptiness is supremely aware. It is not asleep. This awareness is there and no thought is present. So mind is simply a projection of spontaneously arising thoughts based in tendencies and based in conditioning and based in karma that sometimes rise on the screen of empty awareness. So that is what we call mind. So if you look for mind, you see there is no mind. There can be a stream of thoughts that are going across the screen of consciousness or awareness, but there is no mind. Likewise, if you make a great effort, and it takes a great deal of effort, to ask the question, what is consciousness or what is awareness, you can see the way that the conditioned mind tries to turn and look for consciousness. It tries to look for awareness. Ultimately, it can't find it, just like it cannot find mind. It sees that consciousness is empty. It sees that mind is empty. It sees that awareness is empty. These are concepts. When you look for them, it cannot be found. But when you look for awareness or look for consciousness, what happens is the one who is looking becomes that which is looking without the one who is looking. Do you understand where I'm pointing?
Yes. So I'm looking. I should look to the. So I should look inward. I don't know if I understand.
Okay. So if I say to you, are you aware? What do you say?
Yes, I'm aware.
Now, look for that awareness. Can you find it?
No.
Sure, look. Really look. Show me awareness. Show me consciousness. Show me. Can you find it?
I can't find nothing.
Are you aware?
Yes.
So you cannot find awareness.
Yes.
And yet somehow you know, I am aware. So you cannot find awareness. You can only be awareness.
Yes.
So this is why we say remain as that.
Yes.
Simply remain aware. Now, the difficulty, of course, for most people is that as soon as an object arises, there is a reaching out, a leaning into the object. And what I mean by reaching out or leaning into is there is a process of conditioned identification that begins to happen. We don't simply remain here as awareness or being. This was the experience for all of you that were here when Joy was here a few minutes ago. This is the experience he has just had, where he was riding in the car with a friend and the whole world was going by the windows and everything was happening. and he suddenly realized that the position that he was actually in was here. It was not out there. That all of the objects were going by, life was going on, the car was moving, he was riding or driving, but he was centered in the heart of being. This was what he described. This is the direct perception of I am.
It's remaining only in the sense of feeling, so in the sense of being.
Yes,
Without
only. Yes.
anymore.
When you say it is only remaining in the sense of being, now you are describing a sadhana, which is good, because this is what I'm always trying to describe to you, is a sadhana which will help to bring you to this recognition that you cannot find awareness, you can only be awareness. You cannot find consciousness, you can only be consciousness.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Yes, you have to go before all of these imaginary eyes or all these illusory eyes or all these ways in which you identify, and see directly through direct perception that this awareness which is here is before all of these objects.
Yeah. So in the dream of the, because we are living now in the dream of the vigil, no? So we have the dream of the vigil. The dream of the vigil. So we are in vigil, but we are awake, but this is a dream. So we have the dream of the dreams and the dream of the vigil. So in this vigil, I can deal with the thoughts and I can make self-inquiry, self-investigation. But in dreams, in the dream of the dreams, tonight, for example, when I do a lot of investigation in the day, a lot of self-inquiry. I try to stay in the only being, only in myself. So when I do a lot of sadhana in the day, at night the dreams are very strange, very vivid, very. So
yes.
Maybe the ego is like twisting, like at night the ego is like more powerful. So I don't know how to deal, because I don't know how to do self-investigation in dreams. I'm not able to do that.
So yes, I understand. So I just want to tell you, don't do anything. Continue your inquiry in the waking state. The reason that I say this is because experience tells that what will happen is that the dreams may increase for a period of time as an outlet for the tendencies or the identifications that are no longer able to come out during the daytime because of the sadhana. The dreams will increase for some people, not all, temporarily. And this temporarily, I mean, may last for a few weeks, it may last for a few months, may even last for a few years. But what happens eventually is that in the same way that the tendencies start to slow down and they begin to not manifest as often in the waking state, they also begin to not manifest in the dream state.
Yeah.
So when you work on this from the waking state, as you said, there can be this feeling like you've just pushed a lot of subconscious material into the dream state. But understand that what's happening is it's actually being cleansed. It's finding an outlet in the dream state, because you are there. There is not such a strong sense of presence, but it will eventually dissolve there as well, because it's very clear from the experience of sages that many of them do not sleep, and those who sleep often say they do not dream anymore. It doesn't happen anymore. So this is a stage or a state that you're in right now. It will pass. Keep going.
Okay. It must be
Continue your sadhana during the day.
Okay.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Yes, hello. Diana.
Selina. My friend Selina is here.
Diana's group, yeah.
Hello, Rishi.
Hello.
I have a question about the question, am I aware?
Yes.
So I have two different ways of experiencing this question. Sometimes when I ask the question, am I aware? I get into this state of being awareness, of experience, like this, everything's happening and I'm watching everything like a movie. And also when I'm talking, I don't need to think. I am, watching myself as well and everything outside myself, speaking as this body. And this is what I feel like. This is what the question is supposed to do. But then sometimes I ask this question, am I aware? And the only thing that it does to me is I focus on my senses a lot. So for example, I hear the birds a lot, or I feel the space in the mountains, or I feel the wind on my skin. And when I'm with people in that moment, it's too much for me to deal with them, because I feel like I'm in the state of I'm taking in everything, but this body is aware of everything, but this body can't act. It cannot move. It cannot talk. It's just like, oh, and I don't know how to deal with that. Like, how can this one question have these two very different effects on me? And how can I move towards finding a question that makes me be awareness and not experience awareness?
So at that moment, I would suggest that you move from the question, am I aware, into the recognition that that which is aware is here now. And this awareness can be aware of a lot of different things.
That makes sense to me when I am awareness. That makes sense. But when I'm in this moment of taking in, I have this separation between the body and the world.
Well, yeah, but that's just an indication that there is still this perception in you that there are two of you, or that there is not a unified. That you are not unified in that moment. You are still feeling some sense of separation from whatever is on the screen, but that's a normal part of this process as well.
And then I try to ask, am I aware? But it brings me deeper into that state of...
Yeah, so that's why I said don't ask, am I aware? I just simply notice that which is aware is here now.
Okay, I will try.
You have to play with it a little bit, you have to understand that the different responses that come to noticing that one is aware are really not related to something you are doing. They are more related to the tendencies that...
What do you mean by tendencies?
If you are in a state of pure, pristine awareness, then what comes across the field, into the field, or across the screen of awareness, however you want to say that, does not have any kind of an impact. So there's just this recognition that this object is here. That's not really true. It's not really a recognition. There is no thinking going on. There is just presence, which is here. It is alert. It is present. It is empty. It has there's no experience that's rising in the body-mind along with the perception of awareness. There's just awareness is here. That's it. A tendency means that when something,
yeah, I have these moments and then I get back. That's what I said. I have these moments and then as someone, I don't remember who mentioned that again, I build up this will to experience it again, and then it hinders me from actually doing that because I want to be there.
You just have to go on asking the question. What I was trying to get to was that asking the question is what causes these various manifestations in the field of awareness. And so it's the pointer is still the same. Understand that something has risen in the field of awareness and you are not that. You are the awareness itself. So come back to that.
So this body was that one that was having the sensation, and I can observe the body that is now in that stress and wants to get back into life.
Yes. And partly what I'm trying to also point out to you, and I'll say it more directly, is that when you are in that position of the observer, you actually are really about halfway to awareness. So the observer is not the awareness itself, because there still is a subtle sense that there is a me or there is an observer here that is observing what's on the screen of awareness. So that is still a subtle sense. So in a way I can say, yeah, that's true, but that's about halfway to awareness itself. Because what I was trying to point out is that awareness itself is the open field in which everything rises and nothing is reactive or disturbed, or there is no need to understand or believe or accept anything about it. So in that field, then everything can come and go, people can come and go, bird sound can come and go. Disturbance can seem to come in the body-mind, sensation can seem to come in the body-mind, related to some experience that seems to be happening, but on a deeper level, awareness itself is unmoved by any of it. So that's why I say that as long as you are still aware of that, you are in that observing state, that's about a halfway. Mm-hmm. So that is when the pointer, that which is aware is here now, moves us from that halfway point of I am aware, this I is still here in some subtle way, moves us back into the open or vast field of awareness itself, away from all identification with anything that's in the field of awareness.
Are you aware then of, like, can you feel other objects as well? Or, like, for me,
yes, it's not the objects which lead, it's the you which is aware of objects that leaves. Awareness is here, it's not tied to the body mind. All the objects are just the objects. There's not a me to be aware of those objects. So I'm not identified with I'm not identified with the observer, not identified with the witness, not identified with the body, not identified with the thoughts, not identified with the naming of objects even. There is simply this. I can't say it any other way. There is simply this. Do you know you are here in this moment right now? Is it true?
Now you're tricking me. Am I here?
Yes, you are aware, are you not?
I was. Now I'm back into the observer. But I think for a second, the awareness was moving towards the house, and there was not a limitation to this body. It was like it's difficult. I think I have to contemplate about this now.
Are you aware? Are you aware in this moment?
I'm not sure. I think if I answer this question as am I existing, then
No, I just want you to,
yes.
I don't want you to do it with your mind. I want you to answer it just directly. Are you aware?
Yes.
Yes. Remain as that. And everything will resolve itself.
But then I'm the observer again, not the awareness. And it's the
So
mind.
when I ask you the question, are you aware? Do you have to go find the observer in order to answer that question, or do you just say yes?
Do I have to find the observer? Yeah, that's what I mean. This question makes different things with me, depending on when I ask it. Sometimes I even say, no, I'm not aware, and then I listen. Because
yes, I understand. And this, what this means, if you can say, what this means is that when you ask that question, you are first going to the observer and then trying to answer the question. What I am trying to point you toward when I say, are you aware? Answer me. Are you aware? Don't go to the observer. Are you aware?
Oh, yeah. So I have to ask the question myself. Don't observe.
Okay.
No? I think.
Are you aware?
Yes.
Yes. Remain there. Now you are, when you say that so quickly like that, assuming you aren't just playing a game with me, then what's happening is you are going to this intuitive knowing, which is awareness itself. And then you are after that going to the observer in order to look at all the objects which are on the field of awareness.
Denkst so kompliziert, aber es ist ganz einfach. Ganz direkt, ist ganz direkt.
So that's why when I ask the question and I say and I try to think about it, then I'm starting to get lost in the senses and become the observer.
Correct.
Okay.
So the remedy for that particular habit is to look for the awareness itself. If you ask yourself the question, am I aware? Now, rather than taking the observer position and looking at the objects that are in the field, turn toward the awareness itself. What is aware here?
Not am I aware of my senses, but am I awareness?
What is awareness? If you ask the question, am I aware? And you immediately come into the space of recognition. Yes, awareness is here. Now find awareness.
Somewhere, everywhere in there. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You can do it. No problem. You can do it. No problem.
Thank you.
All right, my friends. Be happy and peaceful. Be well. Know that you are that. You are aware. You are here. You are now. You have no past. You have no future. You are that which is aware in every moment, in all times, in all spaces. There is nothing which you are and nothing which you are not. Hari Om Tat Sat.